As you say, Peter, the grounds are looking pretty good and the conditions are perfect, overcast and not quite as hot as it was last week up at Northampton, where it was extremely hot for our Saturday broadcast. Would have been 28, 29, 30 degrees last Saturday.
Stu Egan starting in the ruck for Towns, Glenn. Moments away from a start to call the action in the first term on Dread and O'Malley Game Day is Mr. Football Glenn Barnett.
And Zach Papertalk is doing the rucking for Mullewa. Mullewa still don't have a lot of really tall players in their side. Stu Egan and Zach Papertalk go to battle. Papertalk gets it down, but only as far as the Towns player there, and Will Faithful. He quickly slaps it out, looking for Egan again, but the ball's picked up by that clever player for Mullewa in Kane Little. A veteran now, gets it onto a teammate. That teammate puts it on his left boot. Morris come again, and Morris come again is offline, and Mullewa kicking to the Wanthella end in this first term, with thanks to Warren Taylor Holmes. So on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Mullewa are one behind and Towns are yet to open their account, and we've played 30 seconds in the opening term.
The breeze is slightly going across the ground and favouring probably the northeast of the ground, so favouring the end to which Mullewa are kicking slightly. 1 to 2 goals, if that. The ball is in the big pockets of Towns at the moment, or one of the big pockets, and it spills over the line. About to be thrown in now. As Glenn said, a big crowd in attendance here. We look down from the Podge Jackson grandstand here at WA Country Builders Stadium. Players setting themselves now. Beautiful conditions for football. Up they go. It's knocked down by Egan on this occasion. Comes off the boots of the player there in Pillman. He sends it further afield to in defence. And Forrester has it now and goes laterally. On the half-back flank now, on the Floors Road side, they go deeper into that area. So Taj Satie takes the mark. He sends it inboard. Stuart Gaby, the veteran. Didn't think I'd be seeing him again in season 2022, but he has butted up and they've needed him, that's for sure. The ball on the half-back line. Going forward now, off the boot of Matt Russell to the centre wing, and a nice mark is taken there by the Towns custodian. That player was going to play on, but elects to stand behind the mark now. He sends it inboard. That wasn't 15 metres. The umpire didn't need to blow his whistle because there was no mark taken. The ball goes to ground. It ricochets off a couple of players. No one can get possession. Eventually Mullewa do so. Coming through the middle now. A beautiful chip kick into the half-forward area. Out goes Forrester. He spoils his opposite number. It goes away of a teammate now. That teammate is Russell. He spins around, tries to put it onto his boot. Player almost caught in possession. The umpire says, yeah, I think you were, buddy. And no, he says no prior opportunity, and the ball will be thrown up just inside the forward 50 once again for Mullewa.
So Towns in defence, Mullewa trying to attack. Ball is in the forward 50, whistle on player. Player was head high, so the free kick will go the way of Towns' defence, and that's Will Faithful, who's come up pretty quick and getting a bit of the ball early. So Will Faithful with the kick, he kicks it up along the outer side, Floors Road side, and there'll be a boundary throw in on the outer side. Warren Taylor Holmes is the sponsor in this term as the ball comes back into play, and players of both sides struggling to get a little bit of room, but eventually it spills out. Picked up by Towns player there in Rourke Drage. The young man gets it up towards centre wing. Towns player was interfered with while he didn't have possession. So free kick will go to the wingman out there, and Towns play on quickly through Brett Byron. He's from Carnarvon. Looks like a pretty useful player, does Byron. Byron gets it out wide and finds Gaby. Gaby on his left boot, uses the ball well, as he always does. Finds Drage. Drage comes in towards the centre. In fact, it was Marquis. Marquis got it in towards Egan. Egan turns the ball over. He still thinks he's playing for Mullewa. He kicks it the way of Shane Bonney. Bonney goes backwards to Clint Bolton. He gives it to Callum Papertalk. Callum Papertalk couldn't mark, but he can finish off well. And Callum Papertalk gets Mullewa's first goal of the afternoon on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard. Mullewa go to 1-1-7. They lead Towns yet to score.
You're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football, and the first score on the board this afternoon is by Mullewa. They've had it in their forward 50 a couple of times now, but it paid dividends on that occasion. And great play by Shane Bonney on that occasion, Glenn. He intercepted a ball from Egan going across the centre of the ground, was able to get it upfield, and eventually a couple of kicks later it was finished off with a fine goal. So It is 1-1. That is Mullewa, with Towns yet to open their account. We're in the early stages of the first term. Brought to you by Warren Taylor Homes. Ball back in the middle now as players set themselves. The breeze favouring the Wanthalla end slightly, the end to which I should say Mullewa are kicking in this particular term. Umpire taking his time. Eventually he throws it up. Egan wins the tap once again, but straight down the throat of the custodian for Mullewa. Running forward now with the ball is Tim Steele. He's unable to collect it. The ball spills free. It's picked up by Farris now. Beautiful handball through the pack. Doesn't meet the intended target though. The ball goes to ground. Hegan, he's first on the scene. He runs through a couple of players. Dashing in doing so. He tries to get it to the player in Faithful. Faithful misjudges. The ball goes to ground. It's now picked up by the Mullewa player. That Mullewa player going forward is Galby. Galby can't get the ball where he wants it, but it trickles into the half-forward area now. Player dives on top of the ball for Mullewa, and he dragged it in from this vantage point anyway, but the umpire's given him the benefit of the doubt. Umpire Osborne will throw the ball up just metres away from the goal.
So the ball goes into the air, goes the way of Taj Saiti for Towns. He slaps it to ground, but it's beautifully rowed by Leon Galby. He throws it on his left boot, shoots towards goal, but he's out of bounds on the full, and the ball will be brought back into play. In fact, it's out of bounds, not on the full, and the opportunity for the ball to remain in that deep pocket, the right forward pocket, Wanthalla end of WA Country Builders Stadium. 5.5 minutes gone in this term, and Mullewa have done all the attacking and looking pretty good too, I must say. Picked up from the throw-in by Mullewa, shoots the ball forward, does the Mullewa player there, who has the ball cut off, and it's cut off by Drew Forrester. Forrester kicks it up towards the half-back line, but once again Mullewa are there through the agency of Chris Wall. He feeds it out towards Kristen Papertalk. Kristen Papertalk kicks it towards full forward, looking there for Callum Papertalk. Papertalk is flying a lot in this game early. Mullewa players caught in possession, and the free kick will go the way of Towns. Good tackle put on by that Towns defender, Taj Saiti, doing the power work in defence as he goes out towards the boundary line, floor road side of the ground.
It was a vice like that tackle, Glenn, as the ball bounces just inside the white line and spills over on the floors road side of the ground, as Glenn just mentioned. The Moresby Rangers in the back, Glenn, are looking nice and green this time of year.
They certainly are, and they would have loved the rain this week after a couple of warm weeks.
Yeah.
Good to see some rain, and things are going along nicely.
Good growing
now.
weather, that one.
Certainly.
That type of weather. The ball comes in now, goes to ground. It's picked up now by the player there in Papertalk, Leadham Papertalk that is. The veteran tries to go through traffic, is curtailed in his efforts, but it comes off a Mullewa boot, goes forward now, is picked up in the final analysis, that last passage of play by the Mullewa custodian, but it comes off the side of his boots, misses all and sundry, and is out on the full. And the player that sent that forward on that occasion was Jeremiah Dwyer, and he just didn't get quite around the ball, Glenn, but he had a crack at the big sticks, but the ball came off the wrong side of his boot. Forrester getting a bit of a workout, the young captain for Towns this afternoon, playing in defence. He kicks it along toward the boundary, and the ball trickles over just in front of the dugout for the Mullewa side, about to be thrown in. Getting to the middle stages of the first term, it is 1-1-7 Mullewa. I should say, Mullewa. Towns yet to open their account. Ball coming in now. Up they go. It's knocked down by the Mullewa player, who puts it to ground. Driving in to try and collect it now is the player there in Wall. That's, in fact, it's... Wall gets the ball. He loses possession. Towns gather it up. They send it down the wing in front of our position, out of our broadcast position. Up goes the player in Marquis. He can't take the mark. Goes up into the air, spoils, and the ball flies over the boundary.
So the ball to be brought back in by Troy Simpson on centre wing, just in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box here. Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day, doing it for Warren Taylor Homes, as Rowan Farris takes one of his ever reliable intercept marks, plays on now, goes out wide, picks out a teammate. That teammate on the far side of the ground, and that's young Brett Byron, sends it up the field, looking up there for a teammate, and the ball out on the outer side, comes back towards Towns, and Towns clean up through the player there who gets it out by hand, and Towns move it forward. And a good bit of play there from Peyton Mason. He gets it right up the ground, and the mark is taken by the Towns forward, running with the flight of the ball. And Towns have an opportunity now to get their first major of the afternoon. An important kick, 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle, kicking to the racecourse end or the golf club end of Wanthella. So the Towns player can get Towns back on the scoreboard, or on the scoreboard for the first time this afternoon. There goes the kick. Looks pretty good off the boot. He says all clear. His teammates also do. So well done to the Towns player.
Is it young Rourke Trade?
It could be Rourke Trade, yes.
I think it could be. Number 23.
Brett Byron.
Yeah. The
so
new fella from Carnarvon, Glenn.
Yeah, so well done to him.
Into the team and paying dividends straight away. That's actually the first sortie forward by Towns in a long time, Glenn. I think they had a couple early in the quarter. But
that was a good one.
It was a very good sortie forward and finished off by Byron. And he's a good get for the Towns machine. And we see things even up a little out there on the scoreboard. This quarter brought to you by Warren Taylor Homes and the score rating 117. Mullewa, they lead Towns one straight goal. Back in the middle now. The ball is about to be thrown up. 3 umpires this afternoon officiating this game. Up they go. Up goes Egan. He misses on this occasion. It's knocked down by his opposite number for Mullewa. The ball goes into the middle of the ground. Eventually it's picked up again by the Towns custodian, who kicks it to the outer side. At centre wing, it's picked up by Towns once again. They can go forward again, and out comes and takes the mark. I think it's Byron once more. He comes inboard. He doesn't meet the intended target. The ball ricochets off the chest of that player going to ground. Towns try and bottle it up in their forward 50. The Mullewa handball comes out and they're away. It comes out of the pack. It's marked now by the Mullewa player running on, and that's Bolton. Bolton in front of our broadcast position sends it down the wing. In goes the player there in Gelby. Gelby has the ball now. He spins around, puts it onto his boot. He sends it inboard, but no one's there to collect it. The defender for Towns comes out to collect it. That's Plymon. Plymon puts it onto his boot, gets it to the teammate in Russell. Russell goes laterally across the ground, and Towns still have possession of the footy.
So the ball is on the outer side now and goes the way of Will Faithful. Will Faithful gets it up the ground, picks out a teammate there, and that player gets it further afield, deep into attack now. Another opportunity for Towns. So Towns are getting a lot of the ball in the last 3 minutes, and they got their first goal at the 10-minute mark. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, the ball is out of bounds. The boundary umpire coming to throw the ball back in. And it is Mullewa, 1-1-7. The lead Towns 1 goal straight, which is 6. Ball comes back in. The big ruckman for Mullewa. He's not that big, but he's the biggest they've got. Kristen Papertalk slams the ball across the ground, but it's picked up now by Stuart Egan. Stuart Egan shoots towards goal, and Stuart Egan has kicked a goal for the Towns side. And Towns get their second major in as many minutes. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Towns go to 2 goals straight, 12. They lead Mullewa 1 goal, 1-7.
Stuart Egan moving back into the Towns lineup after, he was in the Wilderness and moved over to Railways last year, but moving back to the Bulldogs, and he's been quite a contributor so far, Glenn.
Yeah, pretty handy goal, that one. Very handy. So we saw Mullewa start, and they had controlled the first 10 minutes. But in the last 2 or 3 minutes, we've seen Towns get back into the swing of things, and they're winning the ball out of the centre. So well done to them. But still a long way to go in this game, and a really entertaining contest for Warren Taylor Homes on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. As the ball goes up in the air, goes the way of Mullewa. They slap it to ground. Goes the way of Leon Gelby. Gelby needs to get rid of it. He did in the nick of time. Gives it to Shane Bonney. Shane Bonney puts it on his left boot. Kicks it forward. Looking up there for Isaiah Flanagan. Flanagan gets it out towards Wall. Calvin Wall shoots on goal from 35 metres, but he's offline. So on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Mullewa, 1 goal, 2-8. They trail Towns 2 goals straight, 12.
Calvin Wall is dangerous in that forward 50, giving him enough opportunity, and he will score. Luckily on that occasion, he didn't have his compass bearings and wasn't able to put it through the big sticks. Forrester, gingerly sends it out from defence. The mark eventually taken by Jimmy Hyde. He had to work for that one, coming down the wing. Also a careless kick. It finds the boundary, I think on the full on that occasion, and the ball be kicked back in by Towns. That's the big thing with the big pockets here at WA Country Builders Stadium, Glenn. You can get caught up in them, can't you?
You certainly can. It's a massive oval, and there's a lot of country to cover. Ball comes in from the boundary throw-in. Egan slaps it down, but only as far as Chris Wall. He goes by hand to Shane Bonney. Bonney cleverly kicks it in front of Callum Papertalk.
Lace out, Glenn.
And Papertalk is a clever player, but it was a beautiful kick. And Callum Papertalk, who was not so many years ago on the West Coast Eagles list, shooting on goal from 45
Bonnie
metres
must
out.
have been watching Bailey Smith last night, Glenn.
That's right. And Callum Papertalk, who kicked the first goal for Mullewa, can kick the second. He is 45 metres out. Directly in front. It won't make the distance. Off hands and through for a minus score. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, a good build-up there to Mullewa. Mullewa go to 1 goal 3-9. They trail Towns 2 goals straight 12. As Towns quickly bring the ball into play. Goes the way of Stuart Egan on half-back. He comes up the half-back and finds Taj Satie. And the Mullewa player pushed him over. So a 50-metre penalty is resulted. So Taj Satie will have a shot from the centre of the ground. He plays on now, gets a kick away, and he's been good in this first quarter. Kicks it out wide and finds a teammate. That teammate plays on quickly now, centres the ball, beautiful pass, and a good pass it was. Towns play on quickly through Callum Marquis, gets it in towards the forward pocket, looking there for some help from a teammate in Jaden Davis. He centres the ball, but his kick is cut off, and Mullewa can defend through the defence there. Good mark taken. And we've played 15 minutes in this first term with thanks to Warren Taylor Holmes.
Shane Bonney still one of the best players on the park to this point of the first term as the ball comes forward now for Mullewa. Nice mark taken in the middle of the ground, this time by Jeremiah Dwyer. He sends it further afield. He finds the chest on this occasion of Leon Galby. Like this fella, puts it onto his boot, runs a little, sends it into the full forward area, and a beautiful mark, a courageous mark, moving back into the pack, is taken in the full forward area. And I think it's a come again that's taken that mark. And we'll wait till he turns around.
Morris come again.
Now, Morris come again is only about 15 to 20 metres out from goal, directly in front, Glenn. So he should make this a doozy as he kicks toward the Wanthella end. Will he bring up the second goal of the afternoon for Mullewa? The goal umpire doesn't move. It's straight through the middle, and that is 2-3. Mullewa have regained the lead as we head to the latter stages of the first term. 2-3 plays 2 straight here on Drennan O'Malley Game Day.
Well, as we expected, the Drennan O'Malley Game Day would be a good one, and it is. Both clubs seeing their opportunities this afternoon. They're going at it pretty well, and a really good build-up to this first term. And both sides have got their opportunities. There's still a long way to go in this contest.
Listening to your program this morning, Warren Taylor Holmes, GNFL Footy Forum, and listening to one of your guests this morning who was very impressed with the youngsters in Towns and how they stick to a game plan.
That's right. They've got a good rhythm going, and they are playing good footy. But we know Mullewa, they are a little bit more spontaneous. They play on instinct. Ball comes back into play. Stuart Egan wins the ball over the back, and he's found once again. We didn't find him. Shane Bonney found the ball. The 2010 JJ Clune medalist, so one of the 2010 JJ Clune medalists, gets it forward, but it's cut off now by a Towns player. Has bounced the ball. He put himself under pressure. Towns player was Tom Collins. A lucky way he didn't get away.
Incorrect disposal. He should have been wrapped up pretty easily, wasn't it? Yeah.
So he gave it away, no doubt about that. And Gelby gets a big kick up towards half forward, looking again for Morris come again. Ball comes out, goes the way of the Towns player there, trying to get the ball forward. I think that is not the. It comes up towards Mullewa again. Once again, it is the player there for Mullewa. Whistle on play. In fact, the ball may be out of bounds, and there'll be the ball brought back in. So that was Denzel Gould, who is playing well back there for Towns, the young man. So Denzel Gould is wearing number 13.
Another
today.
Nagel boy, Glenn.
Yes. So ball comes back into play, and it goes the way, and a player is tackled, didn't have much prior opportunity. So the ball will come to umpire Cody Miguel. Umpire Miguel puts the ball into the air again, and it's 1 forward. Egan's having a good day this afternoon.
Certainly
Knocks it down to way of Brett Byron.
Ooh,
Brett
nice
Byron got
mark.
it up the ground, but it's cut off by the Mullewa player there in Tim Steele. Tim Steele, I think he played a season here. Got the ball at Towns, that is. Kicks it up towards half forward. Ball picked up by Kelvin Wall. Kelvin Wall shoots towards goal from 35
As
metres.
I said, he's dangerous. He's dangerous.
He is. Scoreboard isn't troubled. 2-3-15 Mullewa. 2 goals straight, 12 Towns. on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard. We're into time on in this first term with thanks to Warren Taylor Holmes.
In comes the ball now. It's not thrown up that high, but it comes off the boot of a Towns player. Sends it to the outer side. Picked up now by Faithful. Faithful, it's strange to call him a veteran. He's still only a very young man, but he is in this lineup an older player, that's for sure. Gets it over to that player you mentioned before, Denzel Gould, Glenn. He does a nice kick out to the half, out to the centre wing. It's picked up by Towns again into the full forward area. The mark is taken. Can they play on? Working into an open goal. Did he kick it too early? No, he didn't. It's going to bounce straight through, and that is the third goal of the afternoon for Towns, and that was kicked, Glenn, just outside the centre square.
Yeah, Shane Johnson was the player, and he did very well, as you say. He got rid of the ball quickly, watched the ball float through, and it bounced through the right way, through the big sticks at the golf club end of Wanthella Oval this afternoon. The sun is shining, beautiful conditions, not too hot. The reserves players were saying it was pretty hot, but in comparison to what it was last week, a very pleasant afternoon.
Beautiful movement of the ball from the half-back line down the wing and into the forward line there by the Youngstowns players.
Yes,
there, Glenn.
So a good outcome for Towns, and their coach, Dale Baines, would be very happy
Certainly.
with what he's seen to this point. But I think Preston Wall, the coach of Mullewa, along with Paddy Walsh, would also be pretty happy with what he's seen from Mullewa. In the dying stages of this first term, picked up now by another JJ Clune medalist, Kristen Papertalk for the Saints. Gets it the way of the player there, and Kane Little for the Mullewa side. Finds Preston Wall, one of the great players of the Mullewa club over the years. Played almost 50 games at East Fremantle, player of quality. He gets the ball forward. Picked up now in the centre of the ground by young Callum Marquis. He has the ball dispossessed. In goes Mullewa again, but it spills out. Comes the way of the Towns youngster there in Johnson, who gets the ball forward. And the ball goes the way of a teammate. And a whistle on play. So we'll see the ball come back in to Mullewa. Mullewa bring it back up towards the half-forward line. Callum Papertalk got shoved out of it. Ball comes out the ones to Denzel Gould. Denzel Gould in defence. Gets the ball forward. And he does it up towards half-forward where he finds a teammate. That teammate quickly plays on now. Gets it further up the ground. That's young Brett Byron. Brett Byron has the ball taken away from his kick. And it goes the way of Mullewa. Back towards Callum Papertalk. And Papertalk is marked 50 metres out, but he's right on the boundary line on the Floors Road side. So it'll be a very tough kick from here, but he's a clever player.
He's looking to back himself, that's for sure, Glenn, as he comes in from, as you mentioned, the Floors Road side. So it wouldn't be much daylight, you would think, but here he goes with the Josh Kennedy hop, but he decides to play on. Puts in the check side kick and let himself down big time on that occasion. And for all his efforts, he's only scored, it's gone out on the full. So the ball will be brought back in now. So that was, a comedy of errors by one player there as the ball comes back in from the Towns defender. He kicks to the Floors Road side once again. Comes off hands and spills over the boundary. Warren Taylor Holmes, hello to Warren and the team. Got a lot of work on, as all of our builders in the district have at the moment, Glenn. And he is a big supporter of local footy. Of course, tomorrow, at Warren Taylor Holmes Recreation Ground, a bit of a tribute to Craig Scourge Butler.
Ball is on the outer side. Can Mullewa get a late goal? They have the breeze at their back in this first term. Kicking towards the Wanthella end. Goes the way of Kristen Papertalk. He got rid of the ball, but Towns' defence have been good. Comes out through a Towns player now in Josh Clune. Josh Clune goes by hand to the hard-running player there in Rowan Farris. Farris from centre wing kicks it towards half-forward. Ball roved beautifully by Will Faithful. And Will Faithful read off the pack. There we had Caleb Morris. He was drug under the ball, or he misjudged the ball, but Will Faithful was there to mop up. And all of a sudden, Towns have got a good break heading in towards the quarter-time break. And a good goal there to Will Faithful. And on the scoreboard for Bendigo Bank, Towns are now 4 goals straight, 24. And Mullewa 2 goals, 3-15. And once again, Peter, the importance of efficiency around goal and kicking accurately. 5 scoring shots to 4. And we see that Towns going to perhaps take a good break into the first quarter change.
Yeah, 24 plays 15. And yes, Will Faithful, I talked a little about him earlier in the game, but he certainly, he got the crumbs on that occasion and made them into something pretty special. Of course, Caleb Morrish was a great focal point up front for the Bulldogs this afternoon. Good to see him back out on the park in GNFL football. The ball coming out of the middle off Mullewa's boot now into the half-forward area. But there's Ron Farris again, one of the best players for his side, as you'd expect in the first term. But he's had some help today, which is good to hear, good to know. Faithful, Byron, Egan, and also Farris have all contributed, along with the other youngsters who've got a bit of the ball and used it wisely this afternoon, as Mullewa will come forward again, and they'll have maybe their last shot on goal before the quarter-time break. I think the mark there was taken. I think it was Dwyer.
Bolton.
Bolton, I apologise. Bolton inside the forward 50. This is an important kick for Bolton, because if he nails this one, it's going to make things a little bit better for his side coming into the second term, that's for sure. The ball from Bolton comes off the side of his boot. Yes, it does. He's got it. The goal umpire leans one way too far to the Floors Road side to indicate that the ball had gone through to score a goal on the siren. And as I'd indicated, it was an important goal for Mullewa. They go to
and a very good afternoon. It is quarter time of the football. Brownlow Valley Motors Game Day, Grandfather and Cedar. It's a beautiful day of football. Sports 10 FHL Radio, Radio Bummer. We are the home of NFL football. Round 4 for a weekend. And of the Aston Villa Community State season. And today here at Longfellow, town hosted the Mullewa side. And the Colts, town, one of the Corbett. And the reserve, Mullewa had a win. 3 goals, 2-20. We'll go around the grounds quickly with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. Game being played out at Ground today. In the Colts, Rovers won that. And in the reserves, Rovers won the reserves convincingly. And at quarter time in our match of the day, on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Towns 4 goals straight, 24. Mullewa 3-3, 21. And our quarter by quarter summaries with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. For Towns, Brett Byron, Stuart Egan, Shane Johnson and Will Faithful won apiece. And for Mullewa, Callum Papertalk won, Morris Come Again won, Clint Bolton won. And for his thoughts and contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day, for Towns, who have you liked, Peter?
Glenn, just before we have the ball up for the start of the second term, I've narrowed it down to Stuart Egan, Byron, Faithful and Farris as best for the Bulldogs.
Okay. We'll look at the Mullewa better players shortly as umpire Walker gets this second term underway for Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And the ball is won out of the centre by the Mullewa player there in Chris Wall. He gets it over to a teammate, to a player there in Preston Wall. Preston Wall puts it on his left boot, kicks it up towards half forward. Looking again for some run. He finds that through the player there in Shane Bonney. Shane Bonney kicks it towards half forward. Mullewa player couldn't control the ball. Ball spills. And once again, Gould gets it out for the Towns side. Kicks it in towards the centre. Finds Shane Johnson. He's tackled. Ball comes to ground. Picked up by Gaby. Gaby gives it away of the player there in Tom Collins. He feeds a handball out to the hard-running player there in Brett Byron. And Brett Byron shoots on goal to the Wonthella end, but he's offline on this occasion. And for the first time this afternoon, Towns have kicked the point on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard. Towns are 4-1, 25. They lead Mullewa 3-3, 21.
Early stages of the second term, as Glenn has just mentioned, only a few points in it here. WA Country Builders Stadium in favour of the home side in Towns. The ball going forward now. Coming off that player in Byron, going the way of Gould. He loses possession. The ball spills free. And it's advantage paid as it goes further afield for Mullewa into the half-forward area. It's picked up by Zach Papertalk. He sends it further afield, and Mullewa have it again in the guise of Leon Gelby. He's been exciting this afternoon, as he always is in each game that he plays. That kick went straight across the face of the player intended to pick it up. On this occasion, he wasn't able to collect that. The ball spills free just inside the forward 50. It's bottled up somewhat. And it looks like a free kick will go the way of Forrester. He's putting in a good effort too, Glenn. I'll add him to one of my better players as well, Glenn.
As the Town side have the ball on the outer side, trying to get the ball back into play is Collins. He gets it back to a player there in Egan. He goes out wide, picks out a player on the outer side, gets it on his left boot, gets in the way of Egan. So Egan is marked on the half-forward flank. Plays on now, whistle on play, and the umpire is going to put him back, and he's going to say, have you kick again. He went to play on. The umpire, I don't know why he's brought him back, but that is the way it has been decided. So Egan has the ball now, and he brings the ball inboard now, and he finds the player Taj Satie. Satie, a very talented young player, works hard every time you see him. There goes his quick. Satie gets his kick up towards half forward, but his kick is well read there by the Mullewa player who marks the ball. And that is Ian Simpson. Ian Simpson goes out wide, finds Shane Bonney. Bonney finds another talented player in Kane Little. Kane Little couldn't mark. The ball comes across the boundary line, and there'll be a boundary throw-in. Looking at better players for Mullewa in that first quarter and contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day. Shane Bonney is doing well. Callum Papertalk looks dangerous up forward. Leon Gelby and Kane Little.
Yes, Kane Little certainly is getting a bit of the ball, Glenn. Ball comes in now, and that player goes to ground. I've just mentioned he gets a handball outside the pack, and they're away. A Mullewa on the far side. The wide expanses of WA Country Builders Stadium into the full forward area now. It's picked up by the player there, puts it onto his boot. Playing on now is Papertalk, wearing the coveted number 7. He loses the ball as he moves forward now. It's picked up in defence by Towns. They send it straight down the middle of the ground, trying to run onto it. is the player there to try, and the fact that player is Stuart Gaby. I was going to say his name and I thought it's not him wearing the blue boots, but he's caught in possession, and a free kick will go the way of Mullewa. On the half-back line now, it goes laterally across the ground. No one can take the mark. Egan's there for Towns, though. He's working hard this afternoon in the ruck and inside the middle of the ground. The ball goes away now. Sardi, he gets a nice little handle to Egan. Egan dives back on top of the ball. Goes back into traffic. A little bit dangerous on that occasion. The umpire agrees. And no, he says the player was caught in possession. Mullewa have the ball. They send it out in front of our broadcast position to try and collect it now. Moving in to do so is Kane Little. As we mentioned, getting a bit of the ball, but he loses his footing. The ball goes to ground. It's Towns who have it in the guise of the youngster there in Walk Drage. He sends it inboard. Up goes a couple of players, but first is the player to bring it down to ground. He's unable to collect it. That is Preston Wall. The ball spills free. It's inside the centre square now. No one can get possession. The umpire blows the whistle, and it's Tad Sadie for Towns who emerges as the recipient of the footy.
Gets it over to Marquis. Marquis gets it further across the ground towards Rowan Farris. Farris kicks it in towards half forward, and a courageous one-handed mark taken by Tom Collins. And Collins' mark 45 metres out, directly in front, kicking to the Wanthala end. So Tom Collins has worked hard in this game, as he always does. So he has an opportunity now to get a score on the board for his team, get his first goal of the afternoon, and extend the margin from 4 points to 10. So Tom Collins coming back from injury, spent a season at Chapman Valley, spent a season at Rovers, but he's back where it all began for him at Towns, and he's back at Towns this year. But this kick is not a good one. It was all inaccurate, and another minus score result. So 26 plays 21 in favour of the Bulldogs on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard. Balls with Wall, Chris Wall. Chris Wall sends the ball across the ground and picks out a teammate in Steele. So there are three Wall brothers playing this afternoon. There's Preston, Chris and Kelvin. So all very talented footballers in their own right. Ball picked up by Towns. Beautiful pick up there by that young man in Jack Osborne. Jack Osborne shoots on goal, the former Railways player. Gets the ball towards the goals, but he's offline, so another minus score. So 27 plays 21 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard. 4 goals, 3, 27 to the Mullewa side, 3-3, 21.
The ball coming out of defence now for Mullewa. Towns kicking to the Wanthala end in this particular term. A slight breeze probably favouring that into the ground, but the breeze is going slightly across the ground, which means that it isn't really that favourable. The ball coming off the Mullewa boot and stays with Wall now. He's below the big light tower here on the Floors Road side of the ground. He sends it further afield. Player moving up to try and take the mark. That player is Galby. He can't take it. The ball goes to ground. Sadie's first in the race. The big fella knocks it forward into space. It's picked up now by custodian and Tom Collins. He sends it over to a teammate who handballs back through traffic. Going to ground now. Towns have the ball again as they send it forward. Can they make something out of nothing? The ball goes one way, then the other, as it goes back the way of a Towns forward who decides to go back to Sadie. Sadie in turn sends it across the ground and he finds Stuart Gaby. Gaby doesn't take the mark but moves away from his opponent, puts it onto his boot, sends it into the full forward area, comes off hands, goes to ground, picked up by a Towns player who shoots on goal, but the Towns player is inaccurate, caught as he's getting rid of the ball, and the ball goes out on the full once again. I haven't seen so many balls go out on the full near the goals in a game of footy, Glenn.
No, and the conditions are pretty good here at Wanthala this afternoon. And a pretty entertaining game of footy. Both sides know that they're still in the contest. Only a goal in it, as Mullewa will bring the ball out of defence through Wall. Gets it up the ground, finds Shane Bonney. Bonney puts it on his left boot. And this time he's out of bounds on the full too, so you're dead right, Peter. As we quickly go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. Game being played out at Greenough, Rovers hosting Northampton. And at quarter time, Rovers 5-2-32 lead Northampton 1 goal 4-10. So Rovers away to a good start. Northampton a bit sluggish once again.
Ball coming in now, and the ball is a nice mark is taken as it comes in by the player there in Brett Byron. We've liked his game today, Glenn.
Yes, a lot to like about it, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and he'll have a shot on goal. He's about 35 metres out from goal in a slight angle, kicking toward the Wanthala end. Towns have not scored at this end to this point. So let's see how he goes. In comes Byron now. one of the better players in the first term. Looks pretty good off the boot. It's a nice kick. The goal umpire moves far too far to one side and lets us know that it's only gone through for the minor score. So the scoreboard rolls over here at WA Country Builders Stadium, and it is Towns 4-4, and they lead Mullewa 3-3.
And this is the second quarter with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, as Mullewa bring the ball out of defence. Mullewa defender has the ball in the back pocket.
There's about 20 Melissa Prices all along the way, all along the Chapman Road out to Drummond's, Glenn.
Yeah, there's no shortage of signage. No. As the ball comes the way of the Mullewa defender, he goes out wide, finds Shane Bonney. Shane Bonney's making himself available well this afternoon, but he's turned the ball over again. This time it goes the way of Stuart Egan, and Egan uses the ball very well, so he gets it in towards the forward pocket, and a player there has marked, and the young Towns player has the ball in the right forward pocket, and he has an opportunity to shoot on goal. So he's in the wrong side for a right footer. He's in the right forward pocket, but there goes his kick.
Not a bad kick.
He's made a pretty good effort of that. That's a very good kick. He didn't do the drop side punt. He didn't do anything. He just kicked it straight through with a drop punt. And a good effort there from the young man. So well done to him. So a good goal there to the Towns player. And that is a good bit of play from the player there for Towns. And a good goal to him. So well done to that young player.
Yes, and we'll let you know who he is very soon, Glenn. And yes, it was. And he sort of through the eye of the needle, really, that kick. And just desserts for the Towns side, who have been peppering their forward 50 in the early stages of this. The second term, 5-4 plays 3-3. This quarter, as Glenn said, brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And don't forget to join us each Saturday morning from 8:30 for Sportshed Saturday, brought to you by Mitchell & Brown Retrovision. The ball back in the middle now. Damien Black, yeah. Damien Black, he has had a few good games for the Bulldogs. Goes to the outer side. They picked up by Mullewa on this occasion as they try to get it some sorties into their forward area under the scoreboard. The ball, does it make the white line? As we say, this ground is huge here, WA Country Builders Stadium. The ball comes forward now for Towns and misses the intended target, Gaby, and comes off hands and spills over the boundary once again on the Fords Road side of the ground. This is Drennan O'Malley Game Day, round 4 in the GNFL.
And we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. There's a good game being played out there at Greenough this afternoon. And at quarter time, Rovers 5-2-32 lead Northampton 1-4-10. So a 22-point margin there in favour of the Demons. Rovers have had a good day. They won the Colts and they were convincing winners in the reserve. So a good start to the day for Rovers as we see the player there in Leadham Paper Talk for Mullewa. Kick it up towards half forward, looking there for the player in Kelvin Wall. He brings it out, gives it away of Clint Bolton. Clint Bolton from half forward, kicks it up towards the forward pocket, looking again for Leon Gelby. Gelby turns around. He looks across the ground, finds Morris come again, off hands and through for a force behind. And the Mullewa players built up was pretty good, but they couldn't finish it off as well as they liked.
Good defensive work there by Forrester.
He's very good, isn't he? He's growing as every year. He gets better, and he's still a very young man. I think he's only 22.
Yep.
The ball comes back into play, goes the way of the Towns centreman. He gets it up towards Gaby. Gaby on centre wing, outer side, gets it further afield and finds Matt Russell. Matt Russell with a big kick finds the big man, Caleb Morrish. Caleb Morrish plays on quickly, now wearing a helmet. He gets it away of Stuart Egan. So Caleb was on the boundary line, brings it in towards centre half forward where he finds Stuart Egan. Egan plays on quickly with a short pass, and he's picked out that player again. And this time it's Rourke Drage. And Rourke Drage is 45 metres out directly in front.
That's a big town's name, isn't it, Glenn?
It
Drage.
is, yes. Sean and Jason, and Rourke's grandfather, Johnny Drage.
Yep.
So let's see how Rourke goes. Shooting towards goal, the Wanthala end. Looks pretty
nice
good.
Kick.
Good kick from Rourke. He's got it through. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Towns get another one. Towns 6 goals, 4. They lead Mullewa 3 goals, 3. And a beautiful goal there from 40 metres, 45 metres.
Nice kick by Rourke Drage. And Glenn, he's done his penance here at Towns. He has been, trying to break his way into the league side for the last couple of years. And now that he's there, he's taking all before him, and that was a nice passage of play that he finished off there for the town side. And they're looking good this afternoon. 6-4 plays 3-3, but Stewie Egan in the middle of the ground is causing a lot of havoc.
He is. He uses the ball well, and I've never seen him. He's running with a lot of enthusiasm today. He's working well.
Haven't seen that for a while from Stewie, have we?
No, he's looked a little bit downcast, but he's playing a good game this afternoon, and well done to him. He's always a player of talent. He did spend some time at East Fremantle, but he hasn't perhaps gone on with it. The ball comes back into play, and once again the ball goes to Egan. Egan gets a handball out and finds Gaby. Gaby on his left boot comes across the ground and finds Will Faithful. In fact, he found Rourke Drage. Will Faithful got out of the road. Let Rourke come on. Rourke took it. Rourke's kick's not a good one. Ball drops and a whistle on play. And it may be Jack
Free
Osborne
kick.
who's got the free kick.
Yep.
Jack Osborne, who just recently transferred from the Railways Footy Club to the Towns Footy Club.
Leading out for the mark and hit the deck, and the Mullewa player happened to be in his back.
So a little bit unlucky, the Mullewa player, but the free kick was there, of course. The umpires are always right, Peter, as we have the ball with Jack Osborne shooting on goal from 35 metres out, directly in front. Jack is a noted goal scorer, but on this occasion he's offline, 1 point only. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Towns go to 6 goals 5, 41. They lead Mullewa 3-3-21, so a 20-point margin now, Peter, probably the biggest margin of the afternoon. And Mullewa need a quick goal.
Ron Alexander was having a bit of a chat to us this morning on Sportshed Saturday. He wasn't too happy with some of the decisions the umpire made in regards to dissent in last night's game, Glenn, but that's the way the cookie crumbles and everyone's getting treated the same. The ball coming out of defence now goes away of Bonnie. Bonnie down the wing for Mullewa, finds Wall. Wall now, will he play on? He's deciding which way to go. Will he go laterally? The umpire saying coming behind the man on the mark. He decides to go backward now. That might have been a bad decision. Luckily enough for that player, it bounced over the head of his opponent, and Mullewa will still have possession. Preston Wall. A veteran, as Glenn mentioned, had some time at East Fremantle. Mullewa can't seem to get it forward, Glenn. They're going which way but loose. The ball back with Mullewa again. They try and get a sortie forward. The ball coming down the ground now. This guy will run on. That's Paper Talk. He runs through the middle of the ground, puts it onto his boot into the half-forward area. He's looking for Galby there, and Galby looks after him and takes a nice mark on a half-forward flank. Plays on now, and running into the goal area is the Mullewa player there in Flanagan. Flanagan tries to kick it inboard. He's curtailed in his efforts. Mullewa will get it back again. Shoot on goal, but it goes straight across the face, almost like a knife across the top of butter. It slices the goalpost.
It wasn't a bad effort, though, was it?
Yeah, it was a fair kick, but the umpire noticed that it went straight past his hat and out on the full. I think, no, it's about to be thrown in deep attack now for Mullewa.
Yeah, Michael Wall was that player who kicked the ball across the face of goal. Boundary umpire puts the ball back into play. We're heading towards the latter stages of Term 2 for Melissa Price, the member for Durack, on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. Mullewa player put a good tackle on that Towns player, and Mullewa's Clint Bolton will be rewarded. And it was young Denzel Gould. Didn't have any other opportunity but to put the ball down in a very forced manner. So Clint Bolton, who's been good this afternoon, working hard, and Clint Bolton has an opportunity to kick his second goal of the afternoon and narrow the margin. He's only 15 metres out, directly in front, and he won't miss from there, and he doesn't. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Clint Bolton gets his second, Mullewa get their fourth, and Mullewa, 4 goals 3-27. They trailed Town 6-5-41, and they needed that one, Peter, late in this second term.
Yeah, this second term brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Ball coming back to the middle now. And it is a pretty good game we're watching here this afternoon, and I was looking forward to it, Glenn, because I knew where both sides were at this stage of the season, and, well, one of them has to assert themselves if they are to make an imprint on the Final Four, which you said at the beginning of the outset of our conversation today looks set already, Glenn.
Yes, it could be, but there's still life, and hopefully players can improve and teams can improve as the year provides opportunities this afternoon and into the rest of the year. But of course players have been unsettled, clubs have been unsettled. We saw Northampton make 10 changes today due to COVID, and that certainly has unsettled them and they are getting in a bit of bother out there at Northampton, out at Rovers this afternoon. Ball comes back into play. Mullewa quickly get the ball forward, and Leon Gelby gets a goal. So all of a sudden, when you thought Towns got the margin to 20 points, Peter, and now it's drifted right back. A good bit of play, one out of the centre by Mullewa, and finished off well by Leon Gelby. So Leon gets his first goal of the afternoon. As we look at the goal scorers, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, the latter stages of this first half. For Towns, their goal scorers, and they have had 6 of them, and good goal scorers they have been too. Rourke Drage has kicked 1, Damon Black has kicked 1, Will Faithful 1, Shane Johnson 1, Stuart Egan 1, and Brett Byron 1. While for Mullewa, their goal scorers, Clint Bolton has 2, singles to Callum Papertalk, Morris Come Again, and Leon Gelby.
Well, back in the middle as we head to the big break here at WA Country Builders Stadium, and it is a slender lead that Towns hold in this game this afternoon. 8 points at that. The ball back in the middle. Up it goes, and it is Egan again who wins the knock, but straight down the throat of his opposite number for Mullewa. He puts it onto his boot, sends it to the outer side, and Tim Steele takes the mark. He plays on now, does Steele, runs around the man on the mark, kicks it inboard now. Up they go. The play went up a little bit too early, but comes down to get the ball, and that's Wall. He goes in to collect the ball, doesn't, and collects the man. Goes to ground, picked up by Rourke Drage, who's playing up front and down back this afternoon. The ball is marked in the middle of the ground by Tom Collins now. Collins for the Bulldog, puts it onto his boot, sends it into the half-forward area. Up the ball goes. It's knocked down by the Towns player in the half-forward flank. Gathered up by his teammate now as they come across the middle of the ground. A player is gathered up without the ball. The umpire is unseen on this at this stage as the ball goes to ground. The Towns player tries to come out of the pack, and that was in the guise of Brett Byron. He doesn't get too far, and a free kick will go the way of Mullewa.
Preston Wall goes on quickly and finds Shane Bonney. Bonney goes up towards centre wing, finds the veteran and Leadham Papertalk. Papertalk kicks it up towards Callum Papertalk. Callum Papertalk goes by hand back to Leadham. Leadham Papertalk kicks it from the 50-metre line up towards full forward, finds Morris Come Again, and all of a sudden Mullewa are back in the contest.
He's already got one goal, I think, this afternoon, Glenn?
Yes, so Morris has kicked 1. He's lining up for number 2.
He is there for his goal-kicking ability.
He is. He's a very good goal scorer, is Morris Come Again. So Morris Come Again can narrow the margin to 3 points. Let's see how he goes. In fact, it'll be 2 points. There goes the kick.
It's through.
So there we have it. The good goal there to Morris Come Again. That's his second of the afternoon. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, the margin was 20 points not so many minutes ago, but Mullewa, to their credit, have come back very, very quickly. And it is Towns, 6-5-41. They lead Mullewa 6-3-49. A 2-point ball game as we head into time on in this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, on Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day. Round 4 of the GNFL Premiership season for Active West Real Estate.
Yes, red time is important in all football games, Glenn, and Mullewa certainly have shown us that again on this occasion this afternoon with, about 5 minutes to play. They have really made an imprint on the scoreboard and trail by the very slim margin of just 2 points as we head to the big break. As they go forward again out of the middle of the ground, can they go forward? A player is dived on the top of, that is the Mullewa player. One would say he's tackled high, so now he will get a free kick, and that free kick will go the way of this player as he comes back to have his kick. He's got the coloured boots on. And that player there running back is
Callum Papertalk.
Callum Papertalk. So Callum Papertalk. Callum Papertalk will shoot toward the Geraldton Golf Club end. Looks pretty good off the boot. He's put it through the middle, and Mullewa suddenly have hit the front as we head to the halftime break here at WA Country Builders Stadium. They go to 7-3. They lead Towns 6-5. And the last 5 minutes have been pretty good for the Saints, Glenn.
Yeah, they've kicked 3 straight goals. Leon Gelby kicked 1, Morris Come Again kicked 1. They've kicked the last 4 to be quite right.
They have, yeah.
Rourke Drage kicked the goal for Towns, and the margin stretched out. And then Clint Bolton kicked a goal. Leon Gelby kicked a goal. Morris Come Again kicked a goal. And Callum Papertalk kicked a goal. So a very good performance there. Towns in this term, they have added 2 goals, and Mullewa have added 4.
Ball coming out in the middle now. Mullewa will have it once again through Wall. Gets it to a teammate on the half-back line, but it's Towns who start to put on the pressure now. Can they get another score on the board before half-time? The kick goes to Mullewa once again to the outer side. The player has a bit of room here, and he'll run onto the ball. As the boundary comes up, he puts it onto his boot. He sends it down the wing in the half-forward area. It's marked again by Mullewa. So, everything going right for the Saints. They certainly have their tails up as the ball comes in now. Up they go, players setting themselves. Up into the air goes the Mullewa player. Couldn't take the mark, Forrester. Good hands at the back of the pack, but he lost possession. The ball goes away big, and he puts it onto his boot and heads it toward the sanctuary, the boundary. It's picked up before it goes there by Farris. He kicks it further afield and gets his team out of danger as Towns trying to go forward and make some impression on the scoreboard soon. The ball is with Callum Marquis, I think. He puts a handball across the middle of the ground but missed the intended target. The player gobbled it up all too quickly. That was Sadie. The ball goes to ground. Coming out of the pack, it's Gaby, who safely marks just outside the centre square.
So Towns trying to steady the ship. They go out wide and finds Marquis. Marquis with the ball, puts it on his right boot, kicks it up along centre wing. Finds a teammate there for Towns. That is Matt Russell. Matt Russell gets it the way of Taj Satie. Satie gets it on his left boot, kicks it in towards the forward 50. Finds Jack Osborne. Ball smothered off the boot. Ball running free. In goes Preston Wall. Preston Wall threw himself across the ground. Almost could have given away a free kick. Umpire says play on. Ball comes towards the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw in. The umpire says throw the ball back in. Dying stages of this second term. And looking at the latter stages of the second term with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton out there at Greenough. And Northampton have come back. Rovers are 5-4. They lead Northampton 3-8. So a good comeback to Northampton in this second term at Greenough.
I'd say the airport end would be the kicking end out there today with it being an east-west ground.
Yeah, probably is, yes. The ball comes up the ground, goes the way of Callum Papertalk. His energy's been good this afternoon. Papertalk kicks the ball further up the ground. Picks out a teammate. That teammate plays on quickly, gets it up towards half forward, looking again for the danger man and Kane Little. Kane Little gives it over to Isaiah Flanagan. Isaiah Flanagan shoots on goal.
Beautiful goal.
And a very good goal.
Oh.
So we've seen now Mullewa have kicked the last 6 goals unanswered. So
talk about a purple patch, Glenn.
Yeah, so great effort. And you mentioned the fact Mullewa get their tails up. And we haven't been able to say that for a few years, but when they get their tails up, they are very hard to stop, as we know. So a good result on the scoreboard for Mullewa, heading towards half-time, and a good goal there from Isaiah Flanagan. And Mullewa, 8 goals, 3-51. They lead Towns 6 goals, 5-41. It wasn't all that long ago. Towns were 20 points up, and now they're 10 points down.
Yeah, 51 plays 41. Yes, we certainly have seen great passages of football in the last 5 to 10 minutes by the Mullewa side. They certainly have momentum, and half-time cannot come quick enough for Coach Dale Baines, one would think, as he tries to stop this run-on by the Mullewa side. Up into the air, Mullewa win the tap on this occasion, and just as I announce the ball coming down from that passage of play, the siren sounds to announce that it's half-time in our Drennan O'Malley game day. It is Mullewa 8-3. They lead Towns 6-5, and you're listening to Radio Mama. We are the home of...
clubs are open, inclusive and resilient in local tradition.
New South Wales Premier Health Minister Professor Dr. Edwin Gang.
And we will. You do the President Biden goes on this trip.
We recognise that we're not defined and
Australian Independent Radio News. We've had significant outbreaks again. Your news ends.
Half-time football, hope your day is going well. A beautiful day is there. And we're in the entertaining game of football. It's just United. Game day, Greendown and Sugar for the coming on Sportsnet, SHL Radio, Radio Mama, and we are the home of United Footy. It's ground floor, here in Port Elizabeth today, and we'll give you an accurate week. So this is the table that we're looking at, and all those sides are in today. Let's look at what is happening for our teams of City of Great Endurance. And a really interesting game happening out at Rovers. Rovers are hosting their camping. And at half-time, Rovers 85-63. There's now at the 3-mark 37. The Colts, Rovers won that. And in the reserve, Rovers won very convincingly. The other game is the game that we are at. We're at WA Country Builders Stadium, York Rockefeller. Town are hosting Mullewa. The Colts, Town 1 on the forfeit. In the reserve, Mullewa 8-14, 63 to Town, $3, 320. And Mullewa to the credit, lead at half-time by 10 points. Half-time scores, then we go back to scoreboard. It is Mullewa 8-3, and they lead Town 6-5. So 51 plays 41, 51 plays 41. Margin in favour of the same. It's been a long time since the same has been in this position. And as you know, when the Mullewa players have been held up very, very hard to come back. So it's interesting to see what happens in this third quarter. Gentlemen now noted 26th quarter. Now half-time coverage was thanks to the City of Great Endurance for the goal scorers. For Mullewa, Callum Paper for 2, Morris Cunningham 3, Tim Bolton 2, and continues to Leon Gelby and Messiah running it, while Town and Bolton all the single goals.
Brett Byron, Stuart Egan, Shane Johnson, Will Faithful, Damon Black and Rourke Drage. Peter, you're looking after the better players and contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day from the Towns Footy Club. And who did impress you in the first half?
I narrowed it down probably to about 3 players that were consistent in that term, because as the term developed, less and less Towns players were getting possessions, and as we described in the call, Mullewa certainly had a beautiful purple patch. But I narrowed it down to 3 players, and they were Gaby, Forrester and Egan.
Okay, looking at Mullewa better players, I thought Shane Bonney is working hard. I thought the 3 forwards, Callum Papertalk, Morris Cunningham and Clint Bolton, have all looked very threatening at times. Leon Gelby is working well, and he looks always good. And Leadham Papertalk and Kane Little, 2 experienced players, seen a lot of footy. But, yeah, good to see Mullewa playing with a lot of run, a lot of excitement. So it's going to be a big test for the young Towns side. We have seen Towns shut sides down in the last few years. Can they shut Mullewa down? Mullewa look to be a far more formidable combination than they have been in recent years, so it doesn't look like it'll be as easy to shut Mullewa down as it has in the last couple of years, but it'll be entertaining. Of course, this round continues tomorrow, round 4, and it concludes at Warrantala Homes Recreation Ground, and it is Railways hosting Chapman Valley, a special day for the Railways Football Club, and they have changed the times. The Colts tomorrow at the Recreation Ground between Chapman Valley and Railways will be at 9:30. The reserves will be at 11:30. The women's game will be at 1:30. And the league game will be at 2:30. And there'll be a minute's silence prior to the game at 2:30. So we'll tell you more
see how
about
those
that.
times go, Glenn, because I like those times, and I reckon you might as well.
Yeah, well, I think, there's no reason why we can't do that. I don't really know. There seemed to be some problem at the beginning of the year. I thought that was what was going to happen anyway.
The last game of the day should be your showpiece.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm sure that people will enjoy having footy back at the Rec at 2:30 on a Sunday afternoon. It's something that was much a tradition, but we'll see how it goes, and I'm sure it'll be a big day. And the GNFL footy fraternity are welcome to get along to that game and show their respects to the late Craig Scourge Butler, who passed away last weekend.
Yes, he certainly was a iconic figure, not just for Railways Mullewa, but for the GNFL. Larger than life. I know that is a much used phrase, but it certainly was the case when it comes to Scourge. The ball back up in the middle now it goes. It's won by Egan. He's won most of the knocks this afternoon, but not always to his teammate. It's picked up by Paper Talk for Mullewa, who sends it into the full forward area, but up go the arms of Rowan Farris. He takes a nice mark at centre half back and disposes of the ball out into our wing area. The ball's picked up by the youngster, who gets it away now to a teammate who runs forward in Tom Collins. Collins evades a couple of players and finds Faithful on a half-forward flank.
Faithful, as Towns go forward towards the golf club end, goes up along the boundary line, picks out a teammate there, and a good mark taken by Brett Byron. Brett Byron, who's been good this afternoon, plays on with a short pass and finds Stuart Egan. Egan is still about 80 metres from goal, though, so Egan looking to move it on quickly now. He does. Picks out Will Faithful. Will Faithful marks, but he's 65 metres from goal. Looking for some run, he finds the hard-running Rowan Farris. Farris runs on the boundary line now on the clubroom side, kicks towards the golf club end and finds Brett Byron. So Towns is trying to be more structured, trying to hold possession. So Brett Byron has the ball now deep in the right forward pocket, kicks it towards full forward. Shane Johnson's there, and he's taken a very strong mark. And a much-needed one for Towns. Towns haven't kicked a goal since the 15-minute mark of the last quarter. Towns kicked the first 2 goals of the second term, but then we saw Mullewa add the next 5 and take a 10-point lead into half-time.
The golf club in this kick, Glenn.
There he goes from 15 metres out. Shane Johnson gets his second of the afternoon and becomes the first multiple
not as good as his first goal, Glenn.
No, certainly not. As the scoreboard rolls over for Bendigo Bank, and we see the score now is Mullewa 8-3-51. They lead Towns 7-5-47. So a 4-point margin here at the WA Country Builders Stadium. We're into the third quarter, the premiership quarter for Drennan O'Malley Motors. As we quickly look at that score from the game out at Greenough. Half-time score with thanks to the city of Greater Geraldton. Half-time at Greenough, Rovers 8-5-53, lead Northampton 3-9-27.
And tonight, can the Bucks keep their running streak going as they take on the Rockingham Flames, Glenn?
Yeah, well, let's hope so. There'll be a big crowd at the Active West Stadium this afternoon or this evening. And don't forget, the D-League gets underway at about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, good to watch. The ball coming out of the middle now. Back into the middle as Mullewa move to get it into their forward 50. They eventually do so. Can they do something here? But there's Rowan Farris. He dominates across the half-back line. Puts it onto his boot. Sends it out to the wing now. It's picked up by Sadie now. Sadie goes one way, then the other. Gets around a couple of players. Kicks into the man on the mark, though. But Towns stay in possession. The ball goes further afield, and it comes off the boot of Denzel Gould. He sends it to centre wing, and a nice mark is taken out there. Playing on now is Callum Marquis. He sends it into the half-forward area. Running out to try and take the mark is the custodian for Towns. The ball goes to ground. Mullewa better in that passage of play as Bonnie intercepts in the middle of the ground.
Shane Bonnie, the 2010 JJ Clune medalist, he shared it with a number of other players on that occasion. He quickly gets it up towards Isaiah Flanagan. Flanagan plays on quickly, looking there for Callum Papertalk. Papertalk showed good courage, good knock away from him by the big Towns defender there, who did well in Riley Boyle. He's the player up from Jurien Bay, playing his first game is Boyle. Towns have the ball on centre wing. They bring the ball inboard and finds Stuart Egan. Egan has the ball in the centre of the ground. Towns have had possession in the first 3 minutes of this game and done it very well. Picked up by Callum Marquis. Marquis kicks it up in towards the forward line, looking for Byron. Byron slips over at the crucial stage, and the Mullewa player puts a good tackle on him, and we'll see the ball go the way of the Mullewa player who did well on that occasion, and that is Chris Barry is that player.
Yeah, that's him, Glenn. Yeah, he got
Chris Barry
in one.
Gets it up towards the player there who does well, and Mullewa will get it out through a teammate, and now it goes the way of Zach Papertalk. Papertalk was thinking of giving it on to the hard-running player and Chris Wall, but they've gone back to Isaiah Flanagan. Flanagan goes backwards again, and the ball is on half-back for the Saints. Ball goes out wide. That's Troy Simpson with the ball, gives it out wide to Kane Little. Kane Little kicks it up along the outer side wing, looking out there for Kristen Papertalk. Packle around him. Player goes in. Towns get it out through Gould. Gould by hand to Faithful. Faithful goes the way of the player there in Rourke Drage. And Towns still have possession. Towns have been good in this first part of this third quarter. 5 minutes gone now on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day, quarter number 3. And Towns have really controlled the game. They've only got 1 goal on the board. They've narrowed the margin from 10 points to 4. But they are controlling the game at this point.
They certainly are, Glenn, as they have it now. Kick it inboard. The ball is marked by Farris in the middle of the ground, starting to rack up possessions, as he does at each game that he plays. Coming out to Sadie now. Sadie sees the lead, but the lead isn't from his teammate. It's from Mullewa. Mullewa, they ricocheted back. In the middle of the ground, the ball is with Bonnie. Bonnie now, he decides to go to the outer side, the Falls Road side of the ground, and finds the arms of a waiting player there who plays on now. Mullewa, they're going to set something up here. Into the half-forward area comes the ball, but it bounces over the top of the player playing it full forward. Towns do the better now as it comes laterally toward our broadcasting position. Goes the way of Jimmy Hyde. He's unable to collect the ball. In fact, he does so. The umpire says, yep, you get a free kick, son. You were dealt with a little bit unkindly. So Hyde, he sends it forward and finds Farris.
Rowan Farris on half back. Plays on now, short pass, finds Egan, carries that player. Ball picked up now by the player in Leadham, Papertalk, but Papertalk's kick had a little bit too much oomph in it. Goes out of bounds on the full. So Towns to bring the ball back into play through Farris. Farris is on half back. He brings the ball across the ground and finds Stuart Egan. Egan puts it on his left boot and finds Taj Sadie, true centre half back position. So Towns going right across the ground to get some movement forward. Ball goes the way of Denzel Gould. Denzel puts it on his left boot, kicks it up towards centre wing. Finds the player there for Towns, and a lot to like about his game this afternoon. And he gets the kick forward now, and ball goes the way of another young Towns player. So the Towns young players have stood up. They must have been told to smarten up a little bit. That's Tom Collins. He gets in the way of Jack Osborne, but once again the ball's turned over. Simpson has it, gets the way of the player there and Shane Bonney, and all of a sudden the pressure's off as Mullewa come out of defence.
Bonney, bit of a general on the half-back line now for Mullewa. They come laterally, coming to Steele. Steele, the youngster, puts it onto his boot, sends it down the wing in front of our broadcast position, and a nice mark is taken upfield on this occasion by Zach Papertalk. Papertalk now, he loads up into the full forward area, and over the back is Gelby, I think it is, has taken the mark over his opposite number, and he'll have another shot on goal, and I think he might be the biggest possession getter on the park to this point, Glenn.
Yeah, that's right. So he's done very well. Leon Gelby has an opportunity to kick a goal. We've seen Towns kick one, and now an opportunity for Mullewa to kick one. And Leon Gelby,
yes,
he's done it. Beautiful kick too there from young Leon. Leon was about 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle. He gets his second goal of the afternoon. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, it is Mullewa 9-3-57. The lead Towns 7-5-47.
You're listening to Radio Mum, the home of GNFL football. This quarter brought to you by Drennan O'Malley Motors. Hello to Ron, John, Rachel and all the team. If you're after a used car, these people have been in the business for a long, long time, and they've sold a lot of cars in that time as well, so they know what they're doing. That is Drennan O'Malley Motors, and you'll find them on Chapman Road, just across the road from the railway station, Glenn. Yes,
a very, very big landmark as you come into Geraldton on Chapman Road, just opposite the railway station. Ball comes back into play. Ball slaps over the road to a Towns player in Tom Collins. He tries to handball the ball forward, but it's taken away by Leadham Papertalk. And a good bit of play there from Papertalk. The veteran gets it up towards full forward. Ball running free. And cleverly socked through by the Mullewa player. And Mullewa have got a goal. And that was a beauty. Clint Bolton, I think, was the player.
Yep.
Clint Bolton, what a goal. Made a goal out of nothing. And all of a sudden, Mullewa got that zest back, and a good bit of play from Clint Bolton. That's his third, I think, of the afternoon.
Yep.
So Clint's had a good afternoon out.
Talk about taking opportunities.
Yeah, he made it. The ball was running free, and he cleverly
just toe
poked it. Yeah. He didn't worry about picking it up. He kicked it through. So we've played almost 9.5 minutes in this third term with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors. and Mullewa are 10-3-63. Towns are 7-5-47. So Towns are being challenged again, and it's been a great start again from Mullewa in this third quarter.
Something you'd see Ronaldo do in a game of soccer. The ball coming out of the middle now. No, it doesn't get too far as Towns try and bottle it up. Things starting to get quite interesting at WA Country Builder Stadium this afternoon. 10-3 plays 7-5 in favour of the visitors, and they are the Saints. Then at Greenock Oval, we had an update from there yet?
No, not so far in this quarter, but we can tell you at half-time. Rovers 8-5-53, lead Northampton 3-9-27.
Mullewa seem to have a bit of control now, Glenn, as they pepper the ball around the half-back flank, going one way then the other, but a player misjudged on that occasion. The ball spills free, but luckily enough, they keep it in their keeping, do the Saints, as they go toward the boundary. The sanctuary of the boundary may be their saviour. The ball stays in. Going forward now for Towns. A goal here would be important for the Bulldogs, and this player might be able to do it. That's Marquis. He sends it into the full forward area. Over the back of the pack, goes toward the Towns play, slips over, gets up, and soccers through, and that is a nice goal. It's his third of the afternoon, Shane Johnson, and he has been a live wire for Towns, and that was a much-needed goal then.
It certainly was, but he did well, didn't he? He slipped over, but he cleverly got up.
He just
and
composed himself.
Through. Yeah, very good effort. Under pressure, he gets a very much-needed goal. So Towns still under the pump. 10 points the margin in favour of the Saints. Bendigo Bank scoreboard, and it is Mullewa 10-3-63. 13 scoring shots. Towns 8-5-53. Also 13 scoring shots, 10 points the margin. We're into the premiership quarter. And who's got the run? Who's got the power? And who's got the structure to run this game out in the third term? Drennan O'Malley Motors game day, round 4 of the GNFL premiership season. Umpire Walker puts the ball back into the air. Ball's taken again by Zach Papertalk. Handballs the ball away. Towns are there in numbers, but a tackle breaks. And all of a sudden, it is Kane Little who has the ball for the Mullewa Saints. Kicks it out wide and finds Steele. Steele puts it on his left boot, kicks it up towards half forward. In goes Rowan Farris, slaps the ball forward, goes the way of Callum Marquis. Marquis puts it on his left boot, finds Stuart Gaby. Gaby has the ball on the edge of the centre square on the clubroom side. Further across the ground on the boundary, he finds a player there in Rowan Farris who made himself available. Gives it to Will Faithful, back towards a player there in Gaby, and he brings it up the ground, finds Jack Osborne. Osborne is 50 metres from goal, puts it on his left boot, kick lacked a bit of penetration, and Mullewa can get out of trouble now through Steele, and Steele goes up the ground where he finds Bone. Bone has the ball now on half-back.
Bone spins around on half-back, as Glenn mentioned. He sends it into the middle of the ground, and Bonnie's there. The bounce isn't kind for Bonnie, but he eventually collects it, and then is collected. The umpire says tackled a little high, and Shane Bonnie will be the recipient of a free kick. He is impacting this afternoon, the JJ Clune medalist. He sent it into the half-forward area. A beautiful lace-out kick. He's done a couple of those today, and it went straight onto the chest of his teammate there, and he will have a shot on goal, and I think that's Gelby again.
It is.
So he's going
Gelby's having a good day.
Yeah, goal number 4. Is this, Glenn, for him?
Yeah, well, Mullewa have got some real key forwards. They've got Clint Bolton, Callum Papertalk, Liam Gelby, and they all look like they've kicked goals.
Gelby's best on at the moment, Glenn.
So here he goes. Shooting on goal from 30 metres out, 45-degree angle, and he's hit the post about 3/4 the way up, the goal post that is. And on the scoreboard for Bendigo Bank, Towns are 8-5-53, and they're trailing Mullewa 10-4-64.
The beautiful kicks from Shane Bonnie are fantastic this afternoon.
So the ball will be brought out by Towns defender and captain in Drew Forrester. And Drew Forrester's off target on this occasion, out of bounds on the full. So all of a sudden, Mullewa's Bone has the ball. Jonty Bone brings the ball inboard, but his kick is cut off. Again by Stuart Gaby, who's had plenty of the ball this afternoon. Gaby in the blue boots, the veteran, looking to get the ball on. Umpire says, play on now, Stewie, and he does. And goes the way of Rowan Farris. Rowan Farris still on half-back. So, Mullewa putting good pressure on Towns. The ball goes up the ground. Goes the way of Matt Russell for Towns. Matt Russell on half-back, clubroom side. Towns are going to the golf club end. He centres the ball, dangerous kick.
Oh, nice
Lux of fortune. It goes the way of Will Faithful, who marks. Faithful plays on now, kicks it up towards centre wing. Looking up there for Byron. Byron under pressure, slaps the ball out. In goes the Towns player in Jaden Davis. Comes back towards the player there in Marquis. Marquis centres the ball, but it's cut off by Shane Bonnie. And once again, we can see Mullewa regroup and rebound.
Bonnie motoring away like Dangerfield, like he's got nothing to care about. Then he kicks it into the middle of the ground. A nice mark is taken there. And this time it's Christian Papertalk. Papertalk now. Will he send it forward to a teammate? No, the youngster. Denzel Gould, I haven't seen much of this youngster play, but he's impressed me this afternoon. He's only a youngster, only I think about 15, 16 years of age. He kicks to the outer side. He finds Gaby there, the veteran, from the apprentice to the veteran, and Town starting to slow things down a little bit and shore things up as they kick to the outer side now. And Gaby goes out to take the mark at centre wing on the Floors Road side.
Yeah, outer side, and 15 and a half minutes gone in this third term for Drennan O'Malley Motors. Big round of footy, and looking forward to bringing you the score from Rovers in the short time. And yeah, we've got it with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. Rovers 10-8 lead Northampton 4-14. So Rovers on target to take the premiership.
4-14.
Yeah, so a bit poor kicking out there at Greenough for the Northampton side. So there you have it. 10-8 to 4-14. So 18 scoring shots apiece, but Rovers a fair way ahead. Ball is in defence for the Mullewa side now, and it's with Kelvin Wall. Kelvin Wall, as a 16-year-old, he looked like he was going to be anything as a footballer. Gets the ball up the ground and finds a teammate. That teammate is Michael Wall Jr. Michael Wall plays on, finds a young man out there in Bone. In fact, it's Steele. He gets it up the ground, but now Towns can regroup, or can they? Rowan Farris stands his ground, goes back to the Floors Road side, let Mullewa in, picked up by Morris come again. He kicks it up towards Papertalk. Good tackle put on by a Mullewa forward. Mullewa forwards are fighting very hard to keep the ball in their forward 50. A whistle on play, and a free kick will go the way of Mullewa. A Mullewa player interfered, kept that player down, and a free kick will go the way of the Towns defender. It's Josh Clune. Josh Clune comes across the face of goal, finds Rowan Farris. Rowan Farris with the ball now, in the back pocket, kicks it up towards centre wing, looking there for Stuart Egan, finds that player, and Egan gets pretty solidly, and the ball goes forward.
He's not good, Glenn. He's right down in front of us here.
Stuart Egan copped a pretty good
he hasn't got up off the
shoulder there.
Off the deck
the
yet.
Trainers have come to him. He landed on the hard deck. It wasn't the grass.
Yes.
It's the hard deck at the front of the run-through.
Well, you watch the game and I'll see what
happens. The ball
here
is with Jonty Bone for Mullewa. Bone kicks the ball forward, and it goes the way. And Stuart Egan stands his ground. Stuart Egan takes the mark. Ball comes forward, and once again, Towns can regroup.
Stuart Egan certainly isn't taking the mark,
Black.
Glenn. He's on the deck
Black
down here.
Goes the way of the player there in Marquis. In fact, it's Rourke Drage.
He's up now as Egan, so he's making his way to the bench. So Stewie Egan looking a little bit better than he did about 5 minutes ago, Glenn.
Very good to see. Yeah, he hit the hard deck pretty hard.
He did.
And it was
just in front of the race here.
It was a bump, and it was straight up and down. So a good bit of recovery there from Egan. So the ball is with the Towns player. He is 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle. They still trail by 9 points, Towns. So the player with the ball, a very important kick. Can Mullewa get a little bit closer? Ball go right towards the teeth of goal. Off hands, ball running free, and Mullewa can regroup and get the ball out of the danger zone, and they do it pretty well. They go out wide, looking for the sanctuary of the boundary line. Ball's still very close to the boundary line in front of the scoreboard on the outer side. But a player was held while not in possession. It was a Towns player, I think. No, it was a Mullewa player.
And we can't really say that the breeze, we can't tell the breeze is really a factor this afternoon because it's going across the ground.
Yes. It may be a factor at Greenough.
For sure.
But the ball comes the way of Mullewa, and it's Kelvin Wall with the ball now. Kelvin Wall looking to get the ball on quickly. He does so, gives it away of Bonnie. Bonnie showed courage, but he slaps the ball to the ground because he didn't know what was coming. Ball comes back. In goes Mullewa again. Smothered off the boot. Towns need to get a score on the board quickly. We're into time on now in this third term, with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors. Towns player was pushed in the back, but Mullewa still holding ascendancy on the scoreboard. 10-4-64, plays 8-5-53, 9 points to the margin. Ball comes forward. Mullewa putting good pressure on Towns. Whistle on play. In goes Shane Bonney. He draws the players. Picked up now by Towns. Kick it towards half forward. Looking there for Johnson for Towns. In goes Morrish. Caleb, that is. Ball slipping through. Towns have an opportunity now. If they pick it up through player in Morrish, he gives it to Johnson. And Johnson shoots on goal.
Goal number 4.
And he's had a good afternoon, has Shane Johnson. But well done to the veteran there in Caleb Morrish, who slipped the handball
Unselfish
out.
play.
He did. He handballed the ball out, and Johnson finished off. And as you say, he's been a very good player. 4 of the 9 goals, so you can't ask for more than that. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, as I mentioned, in the latter stages of this third term, it is Mullewa 10-4-64. So Mullewa have kicked 2 goals, 1 in this quarter, and Towns have kicked 3 goals straight, and Towns are 9-5-59. So a 5-point ball game here at Wanthella's WA Country Buildings Stadium.
Yes, one of the closest. I think this might be the closest game that we've watched or I've been at this season, Glenn. And it's good to watch when it's a tight affair. And even though you may think these two teams are going to struggle come finals time, they're showing a bit of skill this afternoon.
And showing a good improvement,
exactly.
aren't they?
They certainly are. Great improvement and a lot of good youngsters out there on the park. The ball out in the middle. Caleb Morris rocking at this stage, Glenn, because as we know that Egan has been sidelined for a little while. The ball coming back forward now for Mullewa. It's picked up by Bonney. One of the best this afternoon for his side. Gets it away to Paper Talk. Paper Talk in turn puts it inboard. Running onto it is Galby. Galby in turn gives it away to Paper Talk. He's dragged, almost caught in possession. The ball spills free. The umpire lets it go on. The Towns defence are working overtime. In goes Farris. Puts it onto his boot. He tries to get it out of danger. Goes up into the air. No one can get purchase of the piece of leather. The ball goes to ground. Mullewa players are working hard to try and get it forward, but Towns do the best as it goes to the outer side, and Young Gould puts it onto his boot, but straight down the throat, this time again of Wall. Wall on the far side for Mullewa. He sends it forward into the half-forward area. No intended target, it looked, but it goes away of a Mullewa player now who tries to make something out of nothing. Going inside the corridor, Sadie does well to chip it through or whack it through for a minor score and get his team out of danger, and the ball will be returned in as a defensive kick for Towns, and the scoreboard rolls over. It is 10-6, plays 9-6 here for Drennan O'Malley Motors.
Yes, it was a 3-point ball game in favour of Towns at quarter time. 10 points the margin at half time in favour of Mullewa, and now as we head towards 3-quarter time, it's 6 points the margin in favour of the Mullewa Saints. As the ball now on centre wing goes the way of Marquis. He kicks the ball forward and gets it up towards half forward and gets it the way of Johnson, who's been very good this afternoon. Plays on quickly, finds another youngster there. He puts it on his left boot.
That's good again.
Yeah, Denzel gets it up towards full forward, but nobody home for Towns on this occasion. And Mullewa defenders do well. Ball comes out and it's with Shane Bonney. Bonney gets it further up the ground, looking up there for a teammate and finds that player.
Oh, and good tackle.
Good tackle put on by Towns.
Rowan Farris.
Oh, that was amazing. He looked like the Towns player was out of
trouble.
trouble.
I love watching a good tackle.
That's Darren Moody.
Don't see enough of them these days.
Goes the way now of young Caleb Morrish. Caleb Morrish plays on, finds Russell. Matt Russell shoots on goal from a fair way out. He's off hands. Towns should soccer it through. They didn't. And the Mullewa player jumps on the ball. The umpire have no option but to come in and throw the ball up. Time running out in this term. Still a chance for Towns. They've only got the ball a metre or two
Rowan
from the
Farris
goal
has pushed right up then. Obviously he took that, he made that tackle a little bit earlier, but he's pushed right up.
Very good. The ball is in the forward line. Can Towns get a late goal? They need it, but Mullewa retrieve it. And the Mullewa defenders bring the ball out. Ball bounces awkwardly for the Mullewa player. He goes back in to retrieve it, but his teammate's there. Kristen Papertalk. Kristen Papertalk gets it further afield and looking there for Shane Bonney. And Bonney made something out of
Beat
nothing.
himself.
Yeah.
Looked like that.
He looked like he bounced off the ground, but he's still got the ball. So Shane Bonney kicks the ball, but it's 3-quarter time at the football. Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL footy. We've got a real contest here heading into the last quarter. And at 3-quarter time, Mullewa 10-5-65, lead Towns 9-5-59. A 6-point ball game in favour of the Mullewa Saints. And you're on radio.
We've got a time for football. A big one this afternoon. We're going to have another game day. We're going to look forward to all the action from Sunday afternoon at the stadium. What a contest it is. We've got a time. There's only
points in it in favour of Mullewa. Mullewa having their opportunity to win a game this afternoon. And Mullewa 10-5, 65. Lead Towns 9-5, 59. And our three-quarter time summary with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. Goal scorers for Mullewa. Clint Bolton has 3. 2 to Morris Come-Again, Callum Papertalk and Leon Gelby. Singles to Isaiah Flanagan. For Towns, Shane Johnson, he's kicked 4 goals. And singles to Brett Byron, Stuart Egan, Will Faithful, Damon Black and Rourke Drage. We're about to get this fourth quarter underway for GT Russell Chartered Accountants. Umpire Miguel puts the ball into the air. We're underway in the vaunted fourth quarter. And who's going to take the points? Who's going to win? Both sides coming into this game without a victory. So it's important for both sides. The ball goes the way of the player there in Kristen Papertalk, the JJ Clune medalist. Gets it up towards a teammate. Finds Jonty Bone. Jonty Bone kicks it up towards half forward. Looking for Clint Bolton. Finds that player. Bolton was interfered with. He plays on quickly. Centres the ball. And he's picked out Shane Bonney. And Shane Bonney is quickly finding himself near the top of the list as the best player and a contender for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day. Shane Bonney's playing well for Mullewa today. Up forward, Callum Papertalk, Clint Bolton and Leon Gelby are looking dangerous. Kane Little and Leadham Papertalk are also providing plenty of opportunities, as is Kristen Papertalk. Shane Bonney shooting on goal. Can he extend the lead for the Mullewa Saints as he kicks towards the golf club end? Looks pretty good. Goal umpire signals all clear. And Mullewa have got their 11th goal of the afternoon. On the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Mullewa are 11-5, 71. No, 11-5, 71 to Towns 9-5, 59. 71 plays 59 in favour of the Saints.
Egan, Farris, Gaby, Faithful, Johnson with 4 goals. Of course, he has to chip in as one of the better players. And I thought young Denzel Gould is starting to have an impact as a youngster out there, Glenn.
As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, looking at the game being played out at Greenough this afternoon. Three-quarter time scores there. And Rovers 10-8, 68. Lead Northampton 4-14, 38. In earlier games today in the Colts, Rovers won that well. And they won the reserves game by a big margin. Ball back in the centre. Only 2 minutes gone in this final term with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. Towns have to regroup, and they do. Will Faithful grabs the ball, kicks it to a teammate. That teammate gets it to Jimmy Hyde. He gets it further up the ground and finds Russell. Matt Russell with the ball, centre wing, outer side. We have Towns going to the Wanthala end in this quarter. He kicks it further afield and finds Riley Boyle. Riley Boyle, the player from Jurien Bay, playing his first game for Towns this afternoon. He goes back across the ground, finds his teammate in Rowan Farris. Farris comes along the centre wing, the outer side or clubroom side, and finds Denzel Gould.
Nice
Denzel
kick.
Gould puts it on his left boot, gets to the way of
There he is
Shane
again.
Johnson. Shane Johnson, it's 53 metres out from goal.
Backing himself.
So let's see how he goes. How can he kick? He's kicked 4, as Peter mentioned. He's been one of the better players for Towns, naturally enough. They've kicked 9. He's kicked 4 of them.
I think 4-1, isn't he?
So let's see how he goes. A fair way out. He's going to try. The ball will drop short. He's got a teammate there.
Oh.
That teammate got out of the road pretty quick. The ball comes the way of Shane Bonney. Shane Bonney clears the decks. He goes out wide where he finds a teammate in Gelby. Gelby draws a player. Goes the way of Jonty Bone. Jonty Bone under trouble or in trouble. Gets it back towards the player there in Bonney. Bonney steady. Gets it out wide. Finds a teammate. And that teammate is the hard-running Gelby. Gelby gets it up the field, but Towns soccer the ball back along the ground, but it comes back. And it goes the way of Kristen Papertalk.
Papertalk now. Clue medalist sends it inboard now, looking for support in there. It ricochets off the chest of a teammate, goes to ground. They're able to do the better of that passage of play, going back the way now of Bonney. Bonnie probably evening out his BOG this afternoon. Gelby's been good too. The ball back in the middle of the ground, in dispute. It's picked up by Towns in the end. Goes to have Gaby. Liked his game this afternoon. So too. Ditto for this youngster. Gould puts it onto his boots and finds the boy from Carnarvon, who takes a nice mark, and that's Brett Byron. Byron plays on now inside the corridor. He goes. Up they go. Caleb Morris in the middle of that. He can't take the mark. The ball spills free. The defensive play for Mullewa will do better here, as the player has a month of Sundays, but will he lose the pill? He's right near the goal square as he puts it onto his boot, almost kicks it out on the full. It's picked up by Towns again now. Can they make something out of nothing? Yes, they can. As the ball comes in now, the mark is taken by Stuart Gaby, who fancies himself as a forward, Glenn.
He certainly does. And he's a very good kicker of the football. But can he make the distance? He usually kicks balls about 30 metres. This time he's got to kick 150, but he's a very talented footballer. And as you said at the beginning of the broadcast, he's been a great servant on the Towns Footy Club. And he's been helping them out for the last couple of years. He did retire a couple of years ago, but he knows that Towns need his assistant. That is a beautiful kick. Magic kick. And a good goal. A very, very, very strong kick there from Shane Bonney, from
Stuart Gaby.
Stuart Gaby. So Stuart Gaby gets it. Good goal there. So Stuart Gaby kicks his first of the afternoon, but what a good one it was. He kicked it from 51 metres out. And Stuart Gaby gets a much-needed goal for Towns. Towns have kicked 3 goals since half-time.
One thing I've noticed,
4 goals
one
now.
thing I've noticed about the Towns side, Glenn, and I think I alluded to the conversation you were having on Footy Forum this morning, is that they do have confidence in their teammates. When they get the ball, they certainly well and truly make their teammates work for their kicks, and they certainly oblige.
Yes, that's right. So a good effort there from Towns and Stuart Gaby, who got the ball through the goals. Ball back in the centre. Egan is in the centre, and he can't get the ball forward, but it's roved beautifully by Will Faithful. He soccers the ball forward, goes the way of Jimmy Hyde. Towns putting the pressure on now. They need to get the next goal, and they are trying to. The ball comes back towards Towns. Towns still have the ball. Player gets rid of the ball inappropriately, and the Mullewa player will be rewarded, and that's Kristen Papertook. Kristen plays on quickly. Towns player was interfered with, so he'll get the free kick. And a good bit of play there from the Towns player. Good courage. Put his body on the line. So here's an opportunity for Towns to get the ball on. Comes backwards. Puts his teammate there under pressure. Marquis does well. Shows good courage and good composure. Takes the mark. Plays on quickly. Gives it to Denzel Gould. Gould kicks it up the ground. Looking again for Egan. Ball comes back. Comes back towards Kane Little. Kane Little centres the ball cleverly. Finds Leadham Papertalk. Papertalk's got a teammate running forward. Finds that player. Ooh. That is young Liam Galby. He breaks the tackle too easily.
Beautiful stuff.
From 50 metres, he shoots on
That's
goal.
Electric.
And good goal, Liam Galby. And
that was superb.
Leon Galby gets his third of the afternoon.
Beat about 3 players, Glenn, and
arched his back, didn't he?
Didn't he? He was just was so confident.
He ran across the 50-metre line, probably kicked it from 40. So well done, Leon Galby. A good bit of play. And all of a sudden, the margin's back out to quite a sizable one. 7.5 minutes gone in this final quarter. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day for GT Russell Chartered Accountants and Mullewa. Are they going to get the first premiership points in some time? Mullewa 12-5, 77. Lead Towns 10-5, 65. And Mullewa putting the burners on now and really playing some good football. Towns, they are being challenged. Can they regroup? They trail by 12 points.
That's right. 12 points is the difference here at WA Country Builder Stadium. This quarter brought to you by GT Russell Chartered Accountants. Grant feeling the pain like a lot of the Railways faithful this week, Glenn, and tomorrow they pay tribute to Craig Scourge Butler, and it's a special time for the club and the football community together. They
are, and they're having a game time tomorrow for the league game is at 2:30 at the Recreation Ground. Chapman Valley hosting Railways are hosting Chapman Valley, so there'll be a minute's silence prior to that game. And then the other games tomorrow in the Colts, 9:30 start, reserves 11:30 start, women at 11 o'clock. But the league game tomorrow at Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground is a 2:30 start. As Towns regroup, they need a quick goal. Can they get it? Rowan Farris spears the ball in towards the forward line. Goes the way of the big man.
He knows what he's doing.
And Caleb Morris has got a goal, his first of the afternoon. And they needed that one. And Caleb Morris accommodated, and a very good goal, so the margin narrows. Still plenty of time in this game, 9 minutes played in this final term, and Mullewa have had a little bit of a challenge put on them now because there's only 6 points the difference. Mullewa on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Mullewa 12-5, 77, Towns 11-5, 71.
Do you think, I know it's probably a strange question, but a lot of the positions obviously in football, youngsters work and they come through the grades and they learn to play a position. But do you think in a lot of respects a good full forward is someone that's born to that position?
I think so, probably. But, I mean, Caleb, of course, has played a lot of footy at centre-half forward and forward throughout his career.
It's just that they have players like Caleb have presence, don't they?
They do. And, and he has courage and he knows what he's going to do. But, Caleb's played it probably since he's under 14s, really.
Yeah.
Him and under 16s, he probably played centre-half forward, full forward, or ruck. And he has played a lot of footy.
For sure.
Ball comes back into play, goes the way, and Mullewa can regroup and get a quick one now through Callum Papertalk. Callum Papertalk, and Callum is offline and kicks a minus score. So Callum gets a minus score on the scoreboard. And they need a goal, but it might be a very handy point in the scheme of things.
Still a lot of time to go on this quarter.
Yeah, plenty of time. But who is going to run out on top? Who's got the run? Who's got the will? As we see the margin now, 78 plays 71, 7 points the margin. Towns have the ball on defence. In goes Farris. He didn't put himself, his teammate put him under pressure. The ball comes out, and now an opportunity through Mullewa, and it's picked up by Leadham Papertalk. Papertalk gets it in towards Caleb Papertalk, and eventually Towns can regroup, and they get the ball out of defence. And they have the ball on centre wing, just in front of the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, with 11 minutes gone in this final quarter, as goes up towards Russell. Matt Russell gets a short pass forward, finds Byron. Byron has the ball now, gets another short pass forward, and Towns need to get the ball forward, goes the way of Peyton Mason. Ball up on centre wing, on the outer side. Can the ball come forward? It does. So Towns can do something. No, an awkward handball, and all of a sudden a pack develops. Towns would be good to knock it out across the boundary line, but they do well. Kick it towards the boundary line, but it may be out of bounds on the full. No, it's not. A boundary throw-in the half-forward line on the outer side of Floors Road. In Towns forward 50 almost, and almost 11 and a half minutes gone in this final term.
The ball about to be thrown in on the half-forward area on the Floors Road side, just in front of the big light towers. Up goes Egan. He has probably been consistent throughout the game, but in the last quarter his influence waned somewhat as the ball goes forward again for Towns. Up goes Caleb Morris, comes off hands and spills over the boundary. The umpire...
A free kick up the ground, so it'll go back to Morris, I think.
Interesting, because, I suppose the whistle has gone, but Towns were keen to play on, but... Caleb Morris will now have a shot on goal. He's only about 20 metres out, Glenn, on an angle that would suit him beautifully from the Floors Road side, kicking toward the Wanthella end. So this could be his second goal of the afternoon, but if he was a basketballer, he'd have a lot of assists on his rap sheet. So here he goes now. Caleb Morris, as we've mentioned, one of the great players of the Great Northern Football League. Also had time at the Fremantle Football Club. Check side kick. I think he's done it. No, too far to one side and only through for the minor score. So it was probably a bit tighter than we thought, Glenn.
So it's still a 6-point ball game here at Wanthella, WA Country Builders Stadium. And it is an interesting scoreline indeed. Mullewa at 12-6, 78. Towns are 11-6, 72. 6 points the margin and 13 minutes gone in this last term. Ball comes back into play for Mullewa. But a good mark taken by Rourke Drage, who's been very good this afternoon. Plays on quickly, finds a teammate. Will Faithful couldn't mark the ball. Under pressure, he's tackled, brought to the ground. Umpire said he had the ball held to him. So umpire Darren Forrester will throw the ball up. Umpires this afternoon, umpire Cody Miguel, Darren Forrester and Brian Walker have done a good job for the GNFL this afternoon, keeping this game flowing pretty well. As Mullewa brick the ball out of defence. And they have it now with Tim Steele. Steele plays on. He's on centre wing just in front of our broadcast box. Gets a kick forward. looking up there, but Towns have the opportunity now. They have the numbers, and Rowan Farris is that player. Rowan Farris goes out wide and finds Callum Marquis.
Oh.
Marquis misses the ball, goes back in and retrieves it, and now Towns are under a bit of bother as we see the player there in Christian Papertalk rebound. But once again, Rowan Farris is there, feeds the handball out to the hard-running player in Josh Clune. Clune gets it out wide, and the ball comes in towards the centre. This time, Callum Marquis holds the ball strongly.
Marquis sends a beautiful kick, lays out down the middle of the ground, and coming through to take a nice strong mark on this occasion is Brett Byron. I've liked him.
Yeah, he's a good
today,
player.
Glenn.
Kim Schofield said on Footy Forum this morning that he played a carnival with Brett Byron in Carnarvon prior to the season, and he knew he was a good player.
So here he goes.
See, he was going to play well.
He's going to be about 45 out when he gets onto this one. Kicking toward the Wanthala end. Brett Byron, he needs this goal to keep his team in contention, but it goes across the face of goal, and the ball will be thrown in, I think. No? Yep, will be thrown in deep attack still for the Town side.
Yeah, a pretty handy spot for it to be.
Exactly.
It's only metres away from Town's goal. Boundary umpire to put the ball back into play. Caleb Morrish to do the rucking for Towns, but the ball is roved beautifully by Mullewa. But Mullewa defenders working the ball out of defence, comes the way of Bonnie. Bonnie under pressure, gets the way of Papertalk. Kristen this is. Kristen kicks the ball forward, looking there for Simpson. Simpson does well, breaks through a tackle, or does he? Got boot the ball just in the nick of time. Ball comes forward. Towns player is tackled, and Towns player caught in possession. Shane Bonnie, beautiful tackle on Will Faithful. And Bonnie is rewarded. He goes out wide and finds Leadham Papertalk. Leadham Papertalk comes inboard and finds Christian young Kane Little. Kane Little goes back along the boundary line on the outer side and finds Leadham Papertalk. And the ball comes on quickly again. Papertalk kicks it up towards Caleb Papertalk. And the ball goes out of bounds in front of the scoreboard. The Bendigo Bank scoreboard, which reads Mullewa 12-6-78 to Towns 11-6-72. And it could be a very big win to Mullewa if they can hang on. But can they? There's still plenty of time, and Towns will keep coming.
An important win, Glenn, because as we've said, both these sides may struggle this year. But this game today, I've enjoyed it. It's been a competitive one as Towns get it through the player there in Clune. He sends it to the outer side. Doesn't meet the intended target. Mopped up by Mullewa. They send it inboard now. Host of players who can take the mark. The ball spills free. Goes away of Wall now. Nice little handball outside the pack. Wall to wall. That was pretty exciting. The ball going forward now off the boot. Doesn't reach great expectations there. Comes down. The Towns defender drags it to ground, and that player is Clune again. That's an important name in the Towns club. And, of course, I think there might be a few Clunes at the celebrations next week, Glenn.
There certainly should be. And it's interesting to see, Peter, Mullewa didn't win a game last year. Towns beat them on 3 occasions. So an opportunity for Mullewa to break the drought. A very important game it is.
5 points of difference in favour of the Saints.
Yeah, Mullewa didn't win a game at all in 2021. So the ball is in Mullewa's court. Can they hang on? Or will Towns be able to find something in the dying stages? We're about 3 minutes from time on. So the whistle has gone. A free kick's been picked out. And it'll go the way of a Towns player. And Towns have it through the agency of Jack Osborne. He plays on, puts it on his left boot, and goes across the ground and finds Stuart Egan on the boundary line. 18 minutes gone in this fourth quarter. GT Russell Chartered Accountants on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. 6 points the margin as the ball comes forward. But once again, the Mullewa defence are there and they stand firm. They centre the ball now, but Towns have the numbers. In goes Rowan Farris. He cleverly slaps the ball forward. Goes the way of Tom Collins. Feeds it out towards Peyton Mason. Ball running free. Who can get onto it?
Rowan.
Goes the way of Farris. Cleverly slaps the ball forward. Looking there for a teammate. Ball running free. Ball picked up now by the player in Jack Osborne. He screws the ball around the corner. And well done to young Jack.
Goal.
Jack has goaled on his left boot.
Great work by Rowan Farris in that passage of play,
marvellous
Glenn.
play. He started right back here, worked the ball forward. So the scores are level in our match of the day.
Gee.
Bendigo Bank scoreboard, 12-6.
Mr.
Towns,
Football's getting excited.
78. Mullewa, 12-6, 78. So a really big contest here. We're into time on. in this final quarter. In this quarter so far, Towns have kicked 3 goals, 1, and Mullewa have kicked 2 goals, 1. So at this stage, Towns have done the fraction better. Who will keep running? We're into time on now in the big one. Grennan O'Malley Motors Game Day on Radio Mumma, the home of GNFL football, round 4 for Active West Real Estate.
We've got Farris, we've got Gaby, we've got Johnson, we've also got a few Walls out there, a Galby, and also a Bonnie. And these are the players that can open up the game. Who will it be? The ball coming out of the middle now goes the way of Towns. Can they set something up? They get a boot into the half-forward area at the one-thaler end. Up they go. Caleb Morris is there. The ball goes to ground. Handball comes out. Will Faithful isn't able to collect it, but it goes the way of a player there. The boy from Carnarvon puts it onto his boot and puts it through for a point. Can that be the difference this afternoon as the players try and keep the ball in this area? Brett Byron there. A bit unlucky, but that point might be the difference, Glenn.
Okay, so 1 point the margin in favour of Towns. Towns defeated Mullewa on all the occasions they played last year. Can they keep that run going? Oh, an awkward kick. Mullewa player turns it over, goes the way of Byron
today.
And Byron shoots on goal, and that may be enough. 7 points the margin
He
now.
has been the game breaker.
Yes, so well done to the young player
Brett
there.
Byron.
Brett Byron finished it off. So that may be the final nail in the coffin for Mullewa, but they'll go back to the centre and they'll try again. Still plenty of time. But Brett Byron finished that one off pretty well.
22 gone.
So Brett Byron, there's been a few goals kicked in this quarter.
Caleb Morris important in those passages of play there, Glenn.
Yes, but Towns have finished on very strongly. They've kicked 4 of the last 5 goals and the last 3 in succession.
Gee, I enjoyed the game today.
No, it's been great. A
Yeah.
good contest, and well done to Mullewa and Towns. Both sides have improved immensely from last year. So well done to Coach Dale Baines at Towns and Preston Wall and Paddy Walsh at Mullewa, playing with good composure, both clubs this afternoon.
Back in the middle, the ball comes out. Do Towns have it? Mullewa will try and bottle it up. Comes out now, goes away of Paper Talk. Then it goes away of Little. Little goes through traffic, picked up by Egan. The whistle sounds. Free kick to Towns. Egan plays on into the full forward area. Up go a couple of players for Towns. Turns around
Byron again.
the way to Byron. He puts it onto his boot and he scores what I will think will be the winning goal of the afternoon's Drennan O'Malley game day.
Well, Brett Byron's had a really good day. He's kicked 3 goals now.
Well, he's emerged as probably he's the game breaker, and that's what they talk about in modern football. He mightn't play totally 4 quarters of football, but when he was needed, he certainly has popped up. And
Kicked the last 2, but he
yeah.
kicked one early in the game.
He's a little weapon that certainly Towns and Coach Dale Baines have kept quiet coming into this game, and he certainly has unleashed him on in the last term, and he may be the difference this afternoon, and I think he will be.
Whistle on play, the umpire telling the runner to get off the ground. So the ball is thrown up now, and time may have run out for Towns. 91 plays 78 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard. Towns are 14-7-91, and Mullewa are 12-6-78. Ball in the centre with the hard-running player there. He gets it in towards the centre. Mullewa have it, and whistle on play. Now the umpire's letting it flow. Comes back to Simpson for Mullewa, feeds it out. Gets it the way of Jack Come Again. Jack Come Again goes across the ground, looking out there for a teammate and finds that player. Good bit of play. Finds the player in Kane Little. He plays on quickly, puts it in front of Caleb Papertalk, and a very good mark. Caleb Papertalk took a slips catch, sliding with the ball, and he's marked it. And Caleb Papertalk has the ball 35 metres out, kicking towards the golf club end. So a very important kick, this one.
Gee, that clock is going slow at the moment, Glenn. Just gone 23 minutes, I think.
So Callum Papertalk, who has kicked 2 this afternoon. Can he add to that? No, he can't. Ball drops short, and the ball is out of bounds, and the ball will be thrown back in. So the Towns player there, Drew Forrester, pleased, or he escorted it across the boundary line. So there'll be a boundary throw-in the left forward pocket, golf club end of WA Country Builders Stadium. Beautiful afternoon for football, round 4 of the GNFL Premiership season. And the ball still in play. Goes the way of Towns. And Towns see the ball across the boundary line once again. And once again, the ball will be brought back into play. Looking forward to the final score from what is happening out at Rovers. And we can tell you a very, very interesting scoreline. And It is full time out there at Greenough, and Rovers 13 goals 12 have defeated Northampton 8 goals 12, so a 5-goal margin. So 30 points the margin out there at Greenough. So a good fight back in the end to Northampton, but a 30-point margin in favour of Rovers. So Rovers continue on their merry way on the premiership table. Rovers have won all 3 contests, and you can't do more than that. So the ball comes back into play here at WA Country Builders Stadium. This time the ball is out of bounds on the full, and Towns will have an opportunity to bring the ball back into play. The dying stages of this final term, and Towns are going to get the premiership points, it would appear. Towns 14-7-91 lead Mullewa 12-6-78. As round 4 continues tomorrow, it will be played up at Warren Taylor Holmes Recreation Ground with Railways hosting Chapman Valley, with the league game getting underway at 2:30. As Mullewa try to keep the game alive, they slap the ball forward, picked up now by Mullewa player again, kicks it deep into the forward line, but the Towns defence has been very good. Ball running free. Umpire says knock it out. The players doing their best. And as you say, Peter, the Towns players will be looking up at that scoreboard and thinking, gee, their score is the time is taking a long time for this last quarter to roll on.
Yeah, 25 minutes gone and a bit more than that as the ball goes forward again for Mullewa, but Forrester is outmarked in defence, and it's Papertalk who takes the mark. I think it's Callum Papertalk.
It is,
and
yes.
He will have a shot on goal, but maybe a little too late as he kicks through and
His
kicks
third
through.
one.
That's his third of the afternoon. That takes Mullewa to 13 goals 6. They trail Towns 14-7. And is there enough time? But one would think that maybe time has beaten the Saints this afternoon.
Yes, there's probably a few minutes to play, but interesting scoreline, still an interesting situation. Towns are 14-7-91. They lead Mullewa 13 goals,
7 points.
84, so it's a 7-point ball game, and there's not much time to go. But there's still time for Mullewa. They regroup and they can get a ball out of the centre pretty quickly. So let's see how they go. 26 minutes on the scoreboard. As in time, 26 minutes gone. With thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. Ball thrown up, goes the way of the player there in Papertalk. A good tackle put on the Towns player, but the free kick will go the way of the young man from Mullewa in Isaiah Flanagan. He gets a short pass and finds Kane Little. Kane Little looking for some movement. He doesn't find it now. Sends it forward. Goes the way of a teammate there in Troy Simpson. Troy Simpson gets a big kick up towards full forward. Can Mullewa get a great grab? Ball running free. Ball goes away. Kane Little, he stands his ground, shows good courage and good skill. Ball comes out, goes away at Troy Simpson. Simpson slaps the ball on his boot, comes the way of the player there in Leon Galby. But Galby shoots on his left boot, but he's offline. Ball goes out of bounds on the full, and Towns get an opportunity to release the pressure.
And it comes the way of the Towns player in black. He sends it into the half-back area. Players moving close to the boundary. Young Denzel Gould picks it up, and the siren sounds to announce their first win of the season. The young Towns, the young Bulldogs, have defeated the Saints at home. It is Towns 14-7-91, have defeated Mullewa 13-6-84. And you're listening to the home of GNFL football. This is Radio Mama.
Today's Drenton O'Malley Motors Game Day is brought to you by our sponsor, Melissa Price, your local member for the Seed of Durack.